My God! Are you there, John?
In the hole.
I hope you're ready for this.
Jesus wept.
Oh, they must have come across the field and forced the door. Probably took the staff out this way.
Have you seen their footmarks? The bastards didn't even wipe their frigging feet. What sort of homes do they come from?
They come from the sewers, John. That's where they come from. I see they've taken the Crown Derby into Delft.
Yes, and the Wedgwood and the Meissen from the study and the silver from the dining room.
Not the silver. I'm sorry, John.
You came in here and walked out with my life, Trevor. With my life. I feel personally violated.
Well, at least they left the golf clubs. I'll catch one of the bastards. Do you know what I'm going to do, John?
What?
I'm going to beat the crap out of them. Then count the strokes.
Yeah, that's all they deserve.
And my God, they'll get it!
Now, I suppose they may still be here.
What?
We did come back early.
But they would have heard the taxi, surely.
Would they care? We're pretty remote here, and there may be several of them. Yet, we have one advantage.
What's that, John?
We're in the right.
Oh, I know you're right, but first things first. Better call the police. Then, we'll beat the crap out of them. John, your phone's dead. They must have cut the wires.
Yeah, I suppose that's normal practice.
It means we're dealing with professionals. It means we'll have to be very careful. It means we'll have to send the dogs out! Go to the kennels, John, and release the frigging mastiffs! Get the muzzles of the mastiffs, John!
Trevor, we don't have any mastiffs. We don't even have a dog.
They don't know that.
Do you want to scare them away?
Why, yes, don't you?
No. I want to catch the bastards. Mind you, I wish I had a mastiff. Barking mad with rabies. I wish to see them die a slow death, in convulsions, unable to drink and begging for water. And you know what I told them? What's good that Georgian silver to you now, you bastards?
John, I know we're both angry and you feel personally violated, but I think we should both calm down.
Calm down? They've spat on my life, Trevor, and you want me to calm down? You didn't know I had this, did you?
Oh, I didn't even know you've got a safe.
Neither did they. I chose the spot carefully. I knew the illiterate bastards would run a mile from Encyclopedia Britannica. So, are you coming?
Does it work?
Of course it works. I use it for shooting vermin, so it should be ideal for the purpose. Well, come on.
We're forgetting something.
What?
The ladies.
For the ladies?
Well, someone should protect them.
You're right. Yeah, you stay down here and protect them, and I go up.
Oh, be careful.
Oh, they'd better be careful.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to shoot the shit out of them.
Oh my God.
I know. Apparently it's the same in the study and the dining room. The place is an absolute shambles.
Poor John, how's he taking it?
He's got as far as frigging, but it could get worse.
Why are you smiling?
I'm not smiling.
Of course you're smiling.
Well, I'm smiling now because you said I was smiling, but I wasn't smiling before.
Then what were you doing?
Oh, I don't know.
You did the same when my mother died and you had to break the news, remember?
I sort of pull this face. I suppose it's to conceal my emotions.
Then it's more of a grimace.
Yes!
Still looks like a smile. The trouble is, the misfortunes of others always seem to put you in such a good humor these days.
Good humor? I'm not in a good humor. I'm sorry for him. Poor John. He's not smiling. The vein in his temple's throbbing. I thought he was going to burst a blood vessel.
Where is he?
He's gone upstairs.
Suppose they're up there.
My money's on John.
Shouldn't we ring the police?
The film's dead.
That's ominous.
That's what I thought.
We're so remote.
Remote? It's like Wuthering Heights up here. Why couldn't he have lived on road like anyone else?
Are you saying he deserved it?
No, but it's time like these when you need neighbours.
Trevor, you don't even know the name of our neighbour.
Of course I do. It's... Marshall!
They left 2 years ago. It's false, and they haven't spoken to you since you hit their cat with a brick.
At least we haven't isolated ourselves. That's the trouble with money. You're so vulnerable to this sort of thing. Makes you wonder if it's worth it all.
Is that why we stayed poor? To avoid being burgled?
Poor? We're not poor. We did have an attempted break-in, and I wish you'd stop implying that I'm jealous of John. He's my oldest friend, and I'm proud of his success. He came from virtually nothing. He lived in a virtual squalor.
Yes, you've told me.
My mother wouldn't let him in a house. Know why?
Because he smelled.
I went there once. The room was no bigger than a packing case, and it was full of people. And at school,
He was bullied.
well, I say he was. He wore the same pair of trousers for 3 years. He grew, but they didn't. He looked like a bloody giraffe!
Oh dear.
What?
They left the statuette, the one we bought them for the anniversary. That's so embarrassing.
Why?
They left each other because they knew it was a cheap imitation.
So does Barbara. John put it on the mantelpiece when we arrived. She's been moving it to the door ever since. She'll be out of the house by Monday.
Even so, we can't just leave it here. It's too embarrassing.
Oh, thank God they left that.
What's it up like that, John?
What's it up like that? They went through all the bedrooms. They've taken everything of value.
I'm so sorry, John.
You know, one of them even stretched on the bed and ate a bag of sweets.
How do you know?
There was an impression on the pillow and some sweet papers.
Sounds a cool customer.
But there wasn't anything untoward.
Jenny, the bedrooms have been ransacked. What do you mean, untoward?
Well, there wasn't anything unpleasant.
Unpleasant?
You know, envy, scratches, doping, that sort of thing.
No, I didn't see any daubing.
Well, at least they were professionals.
Professionals? We didn't have a visit from the Haydn String Quartet, Trevor. They're not professionals, they're crooks. I worked all my life for those things. That's professional. They came in here and took it. And that's frigging stealing.
I'm sorry, John.
John, don't you think we ought to bring Barbara in now? She must be cold. She's only wearing a thin blouse.
Yes. I don't know how she's going to take this. It's only been a year since she's been mugged. Where is she?
Oh, in a summer house. I may need some help.
Why?
She's asleep.
Asleep.
She's very tired, John.
Tired? She's as pissed as fart, and you know that. You've seen how much she drank at dinner and how quickly. I'm surprised she didn't drink straight from the bottle to save time. Well, I wouldn't mind, but she was the one who undertook the drive.
She certainly couldn't have done that.
And neither could any of us. We all drank on the firm understanding that she would remain on mineral water. Because of her, we had to leave the car at the restaurant.
Well, I suppose she was drowning her sorrows.
Don't you think it's a shade tactless to be drowning your sorrows on your wedding anniversary? What our celebration is turning to be.
I'll get her, John. Don't worry.
Poor John. I know how hard you've worked for all this.
All this? You mean all that? It's gone, Jimmy.
Well, at least they left the pictures. And there's no damage.
Well, yes. I guess I should be grateful.
Did they take any cash?
No. That's in the safe. And they didn't even find it.
Is it in this room?
Yes. I'm not going to tell you where. I'm not saying that an expert wouldn't have found it after an intensive search over a long period of time, but I don't think the average criminal...
I thought it might be there.
Well, Yes, but even if I did find it, it wouldn't do them any good. It's impregnable. You'd have to know the combination, and no one knows the combination except for me.
Not even Barbara.
No.
Why not?
Well, because the usual way criminals get into this sort of a safe is by forcing the victim to reveal the combination, often under torture. Since Barbara doesn't know the combination, there would be no point in torturing her.
Would they know that?
What?
That there's no point in torturing her until they've tortured her.
Oh. Well, I hadn't thought of it like that. Still, I wouldn't tell her. I carry large sums of money in this safe, and I don't believe in putting temptation in her path, on the firm grounds that she would be totally incapable of resisting it.
That must infuriate her.
Oh, yes, it does. You know, the irony is that she knows the combination. She knows the combination, but she doesn't know it. You get my meaning? I wonder, why didn't the alarm go off?
Perhaps it did.
No, they would have heard it at the cottage. There are key holders. Barbara probably forgot to set it.
Does Barbara usually set it?
Well, yes. I get the car out, she sets the alarm. What do you do?
Oh, we haven't got an alarm. We just leave the lights on. And the radio. And sometimes the television. Actually, there's more going on in our house when we're out than when we're at home.
Did you do that this weekend?
No. This weekend, Trevor left a cup of tea, an open book, and a half-eaten sandwich on the kitchen table inside the window. He also left a wheelbarrow in the drive and a rake leaning against it, a casual as if a gardening hoe had been interrupted. Then, just in case anyone was watching, he drove off down the road, and I followed casually in gumboots, and he picked me up 2 streets away.
My God, what is this country coming to?
Now, Barbara, you better take a deep breath.
It's not as bad as it looks.
What is it?
I don't think her eyes adjusted to the light.
Adjusted to the light. She can't focus.
John, please.
Jenny, if she brought us here, we wouldn't have to leave the car at the restaurant. We would have the car and the car phone.
What about your mobile?
Well, strangely enough, Trevor, it's been stolen. Hadn't you had enough of this?
No.
The big thing is that no one's been hurt.
There's no serious damage.
No graffiti, no daubing, nothing unpleasant.
What is she talking about? And where are the glasses? I mean, there's nobody empty the dishwasher out here.
What you have to remember is that they're only things.
There may be things, but they're bloody expensive things.
Well, I mean, they're not as important as people.
Or they're more important than some people I can think of. The buggers who took them for a start.
Oh my God, we've been burgled.
Yes, that's what we've been trying to tell you.
Oh, but isn't someone going to do something? I mean, where are the police?
You didn't set the alarm, did you?
How do you know?
Because the police would have been here if you did.
Do you remember setting it, Barbara?
Well, I can't recall.
Should be a habit.
Yes, I know, but when something becomes a habit, you don't always remember doing it, which unhappily is the story of my life. Even if I had set it, they're away at the cottage.
What about the Coopers?
Well, they're a quarter of a mile away. They probably didn't hear it.
They didn't hear it because you didn't set it.
Has the silver gone?
Yes.
Crystal?
Yes.
Porcelain?
Oh, yes.
My jewellery?
Your jewellery thought you were wearing it.
Well, not all of it.
Where was it?
Well, on the dressing table.
Well, then it's gone. Should have been in the safe.
Yes, but I can't open the safe.
All you have to do is ask.
You are getting the car out.
Then you should have worn all of it.
What? Do you want me to sink to the ground?
You are doing that anyway.
Well, I am not standing here twiddling my thumbs. I'm going to get my car out and fetch the police.
Oh, that will only slow things down.
Why?
Because they'll spend the first hour breathalyzing you.
I'll go, John. I'm all right. I'll get my car keys. Jenny, you better come with me. Check if anything is missing.
Oh, look. They've left the statuette. Now that tells us something about them. They've got taste.
What do you mean?
I mean, they can recognize plaster of Paris when they see it.
They bought what they could afford. And that means something to me. They're my oldest friends.
So you keep telling me. Is that why you have to have them over almost every weekend?
We don't.
Oh, yes, we do. For barbecues, for swimming, for tennis. Almost every weekend. So, he is going to get the car out. Now that makes a change. I wonder if he'll expect to be reimbursed for the petrol.
He's not mean.
He's a freeloader.
No.
Then where is his wallet? I mean, have you seen that man's wallet? I haven't. Where is it, do you think? I know he keeps making those weird gestures towards his back pocket. Do you think it's there?
So the meal hasn't cost us anything. It's on the company. I have them down as visitors from abroad.
Oh, I wish they were, then they'd be going back. Why did you have to ask them over this weekend? It's as if you can't talk to me anymore.
But, see, there's more to talk about when there's four of us.
Oh, yes. She's fascinating. Did you know that she makes her own soap?
What?
Well, not as much makes it as recycles it.
Well, what do you mean? I mean, it's soap. Surely when you've used it, it's gone.
Not so with Jenny. You know, all those tiny little pieces of soap that are too small to use? Well, she takes them and puts them in this little gadget and gets a new piece of soap. Now, I don't know if she has her own crest, but isn't that clever? Probably got the idea from Trevor too. I mean, it was Trevor who suggested sharing the bathwater.
Sharing the bathwater?
Oh, yes. Since they've been metered, they've shared the bathwater. Now, I don't know if that means they're getting together. Having seen their bath, I should imagine that to be a bit of a squeeze. Unless they sit on top of each other. Or if they go in one after the other, in which case I'm not sure who goes in first. Perhaps they toss for it. One thing you can say about them is they're not using up a great deal of the world's resources.
You have to be so patronizing. I mean, I knew them before I knew you. It's something we cannot share.
Yes, I wouldn't want to.
Should have known Jenny back then. She was so vital, so alive.
Yes, I wonder what happened.
What's the matter, Trevor?
They stole my wallet.
Where was it?
It was in my sock.
Is that where it was?
And my credit cards.
Were they in your sock too?
No, they were in my suitcase. I never thought anyone would look in a sock.
Well, I certainly wouldn't.
A sock is the first place they'd look for it, Trevor. Why didn't you carry them with you?
Yes, actually, I wondered that.
Because he didn't think he'd need them. Did they take anything else?
My diary.
No, was that in your sock too?
No. It was on the dressing table.
Oh, I don't suppose that's important.
Well, not unless they find your address and burgle you.
What? You think that's likely?
Oh, anything's possible. They could steal your engagement or take up with your friend.
It's not fun, Barbara. At least Trevor knows what it's like.
I know what it's like, John. We did have an attempted break-in.
Yes, actually, Trevor was quite restricted.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Why? What happened?
Well, I heard the sound of this scratching at the landing window one night, so I sneaked to look and saw this man in a ladder trying to force an entry.
And what did you do?
Oh, well, I had nothing on at the time.
You sleep with nothing on.
Yes.
Is that for economy?
Barbara, please.
I find it more comfortable, although it did put me at a disadvantage at the time. So I drew the curtains back and went, ah!
You did what?
I went, ah!
That must have given him a shock.
He fell from the ladder and ran off down the street.
I think I'd have done the same.
Did you lose anything?
Yes, a gold locket
Where was it?
in a jar of pastry.
I didn't know you've got to go with it.
Well, I haven't now. It was
Why
mother's.
didn't you wear it?
Because it didn't go with what I had on.
Look, we're wasting time here. Trevor, did they take your car keys?
No.
Then drive down to the farm and call the police. If the Coopers aren't in, continue it until you find a phone booth. Oh, you know what to do. I'll look around. I have a feeling they may still be here. Barbara, you better start preparing a list of what's missing.
He's so masterful, isn't he?
I'll get the car.
Trevor, you didn't keep your PIN numbers with your credit cards, did you?
No.
Oh, I suppose that's something.
They were in my diary.
The old cash boy is going to get crashing tomorrow, Jimmy. Alarm bells will be ringing at Barclays. You were starting to study?
Gordon Bennett. Who are you?
Police? And I'll ask the questions. Are you the owner?
No, I'm a visitor.
Oh, yeah. What's your name?
Farrington, Trevor Farrington.
Any identification?
Pardon?
Anything to substantiate that you're the said Trevor Farrington?
No.
I find that rather strange.
Well, they stole my wallet.
You were mugged?
No, it was in my sock.
Most people carry them in their inside pocket.
It was in my suitcase.
I see. So we don't really know who you are.
Mr. Miles can vouch for me.
But he's not here, is he?
No, he went across the fields.
I see. So all we have here so far is an unidentified man with no credentials acting in a suspicious manner.
Look, I was just going to get...
Don't leave this room.
But I was just...
I said don't leave. I know what you're looking at. Not as fast as I was.
Is there something wrong with your neck?
I should be on sick leave.
Why do you think I'm acting in a suspicious manner?
You have a furtive expression. You lick your lips too much. And people who enter houses without any means of identification are usually criminals. Apart from which your face is familiar.
I can't help that. I must try because we have been drinking all night. And if I'm so furtive, it's because you're so suspicious.
Of course I'm suspicious. Suspicion is my trade. No means of identification, I bet. You haven't even got a label in that jacket.
Oh, yes, I have.
Oh, you shop there? You shop there, do you?
Oh, yes, but that's not a crime, is it?
No. But it hardly goes with the place, does it?
Well, I told you I'm a visitor.
So you keep saying. Look, it's not just the obvious fact that you're out of your depth here. And it's not what you've said. It's what you haven't said. You haven't asked for my ID. A criminal rarely does. He knows a copper when he sees one. You have submitted yourself to this interrogation without question. Almost immediately. I could be anyone. But you assumed I was a policeman. And why? Guilt! The other criminals innate fear of authority.
All right, show me your ID.
It's a little late for that now, sunshine. Have you touched anything in it?
I'm afraid we all have.
At the moment, I'm more concerned with you.
Wouldn't they have worn gloves?
Are you trying to teach me my job?
No, but surely...
They may have worn gloves. We almost certainly wore gloves. What we hope for is a moment's aberration. And a hole in the thing or something. That's what police work's all about. A soulless, grinding routine, and a little bit of luck.
How did you know about the burglary?
What?
Well, how did you know?
We had an alarm call put through to the station by a neighbour.
So Mrs. Miles did set the alarm after all.
It would appear so.
Look, I can soon get her.
Never mind about her. I'm going to take a look around the grounds. Stay here. I don't want you disturbing anything.
You're leading me here?
Yes.
Well, I thought you suspected me.
What made you think that?
Your attitude.
Oh, years in the force, I'm afraid. But my years of experience tell me that although you have an unfortunate manner, and your eyes a little too close together, you haven't got the necessary bottle to make a criminal. Besides which, I think this was done by the Bradford gang. They've been active in this area. Now, whatever your fault, sir, you certainly don't come from Bradford.
Wait. You still hadn't shown me your ID.
You're improving, sir. Chief Inspector Bostock, County CID.
Look, let me get Mrs. Miles.
Don't touch that door handle.
Well, then how do I get out?
You don't get to Mrs. Miles shortly.
Is there something wrong with your leg as well?
Yes, I was kicked in the balls by a very nasty piece of work on Friday night. Did you say Mr. Miles was out there?
Oh, yes.
I'll have a word with him.
Be careful.
Why?
He's armed.
What's he got?
An old army pistol, I think.
Would he use it?
He's looking forward to it.
That's all I need. An outraged householder with an old army pistol. It gets more dangerous every year. It used to be antique swords and gherkin knives, and now it's firearms. We are facing an escalation of violence. Well, if you see him first, tell him that if he tries using it, he'll do more time than the burglar.
Well, and if he shoots a policeman.
Policeman? You? Right. Then throw the key away.
Aren't you going to have a word with him?
Not at the moment.
What's that for?
Breathing problems and chronic anxiety.
You're in a state, aren't you?
Oh, this job's very aging. It's the daily confrontation with the worst elements of society. Forever contemplating the scabrous face of evil. I know policemen of 40 who've passed for geriatrics. I myself am undergoing counselling. Really? Still goes with the territory, I suppose. Oh, good evening, ladies.
Who are you?
This is Chief Inspector
Barrett. Have I got the pleasure of addressing Mrs. Miles?
Yes.
Well, first of all, Mrs. Miles, can you vouch for this man?
Vouch for him.
Well, can you vouch for his character? He says he's a visitor.
Well, he is a visitor, but of course I can't vouch for his character.
Well, Barbara!
Well, I can't. He is my husband, and he's never done a dishonest thing in his life.
Oh, very rare. Well, I didn't realise I was dealing with a paragon of virtue.
Surely you don't suspect Trevor?
Of course he doesn't. He thinks it's the Bradford gang.
Oh, Bradford gang. Why don't they stay in Bradford?
Because then they wouldn't be known as the Bradford gang, would they? But don't let's be too hasty. I said it could be the Bradford gang. I have to keep an open mind. Try not to disturb anything, madam.
Disturb anything? It's been disturbed. I've never seen this house so disturbed. But I'll tell you one thing, it's not as disturbed as I am.
You may be fingerprints on that bottle.
I don't think that'd be rude. Mrs. Miles has handled it a great deal this evening.
I wouldn't mind, officer, but we've been home on the weekend. We only went out for a couple of hours.
That's all it needs. I know of a couple who spent a year abroad, came back home to find the house exactly as they left it. Popped out for a pizza and got done.
Well, I suppose it's just your luck.
Perhaps. But when the Bradford gang's concerned, look doesn't come into it. They would have had this house under observation.
Oh, you mean this weekend?
That gives me a cold feeling.
Now, don't be alarmed. I said it could be the Bradford gang. I can't commit myself to one line of inquiry. I need to use my powers of observation dispassionately. It's amazing what secrets the scene of the crime can reveal to a practiced observer. The faint aroma of a cheap aftershave. Patchouli oil, redolent of the underworld.
That's me.
Is it? So it is. We shall, of course, require a complete list of items stolen, madam.
Now, So what's the point? You won't get them back.
Now, don't be too sure. No matter how clever these people are, they eventually make a mistake.
There's a large footprint on the flower bed.
Is there?
Yes.
Well observed, sir. We'll have a cast of that. Large, you say?
Yes.
Could be the Bradford gang. They are well known for the large feet, although they can move with astonishing rapidity and grace. Anything else you can tell me?
They've cut the telephone.
That sounds like them.
And they've immobilized the cars.
No.
That was to prevent you rising a hue and cry, sir. They leave nothing to chance. I think I'm building up a profile here. Anyone for a barley sugar?
Thank you.
Thanks.
I find them most refreshing in these situations. They're full of energy, and they help me by breathing.
Do you think we'll catch them, Inspector?
I hope so. I've been after them a long time. It would be the pinnacle of my career. But I must keep a clear head. I must assemble the facts with geometric precision. Unfortunately, the trouble with geometric precision is it can lead to a conclusion that's absolute codswallop. That never happens to Sherlock Holmes. Can you say?
I deduce from the man's clothing that he has recently returned from India. Served in the army, rides regular, and is partial to snob.
It never turns out he's wearing some other bugger's clothes. Oh, there you are, sir.
Who are you?
This is Chief Inspector
Bostic. Would you put that gun away, sir? We are in a confined space and I don't want any accident. I'll see the license for it later. Did you see any sign of them, sir?
No, I didn't.
There seem to be two alternatives. Either they've gone across the moors, or they could be heading down for the motorway.
Aren't you going after them?
Wheels have been set in motion. There could, of course, be a third alternative.
What's that?
Did you ever see the film Jaws, sir?
Jaws?
They were all looking out to sea. All eyes peeled for the big shark, all searching. You eyes. And what happens? He comes right behind them, right in the backwater, where the children are playing, where they thought they were safe, and starts gobbling.
What are you suggesting?
Have you searched this house thoroughly?
Well, yes.
The attic, the cellar?
Well, no.
No, I suggest you start. I'll search the outhouses.
But suppose we find someone.
Can I empower you to make a citizen's arrest?
That's all. I didn't see his car.
Probably hid it so as not to alarm the burglars.
I don't know why he bothered. He certainly alarmed everyone else.
And what's the matter with his neck?
He was kicked in the balls by a nasty piece of wood.
Yes, he certainly doesn't look in very good shape, does he?
No, and he seemed to have some trouble with his memory. I could have sworn he first said Boston and then Barrett.
How did he get to know about the robbery?
The neighbours reported the alarm going off.
That's interesting because I've been down there and Coopers aren't in. How could they have heard it?
They couldn't, because I didn't set it.
You said you didn't remember.
Well, now I remember.
My God, sweet papers. It's him, can't you see? He's the burglar. Come on, Trevor.
You can come with me, Jenny. Take something to protect yourself with.
got him.
Oh, good.
Hiding in a sunhouse. We heard him wheezing.
Yes, I must say, he's terribly out of condition for housebreaking. You'd have thought he'd choose something more sedentary.
Sit.
You'll be in serious trouble for this.
Who are you?
I've told you. Chief Inspector Dermot.
That's the third different name.
What were you doing hiding in the summer house?
I wasn't hiding. I was searching for clues.
Under full deck chairs in the sun lounger?
If that's where the clues are, that's where you find them. Clues don't jump up and bite you. You have to look for them. That's what police work's all about. The painstaking sifting of the evidence. The back-breaking routine.
Don't start that again.
Look, why did you come here?
In answer to your alarm.
Well, I didn't set it, I forgot.
How can you remember you forgot?
Right. Now perhaps... Why did you think this man was a policeman, Trevor?
He showed me his warrant card. It had his picture on it.
Jenny searched his pockets.
There, go.
And you recognize this picture?
Well, I didn't get a close look, but it seemed familiar.
It should do. It's you.
What?
It's your office security card, and these are your credit cards.
Oh my God.
Perhaps you will give us your name.
I've given you 3. How many more do you want?
How many names have you got?
I don't know. I usually say the first thing that comes into my head. I called myself the Haviland the other day. I mean, do I look like the Haviland?
You certainly don't. You look exactly what you are. A mean, pathetic little crook.
Wait a minute. He was prepared to believe I was a policeman.
You were very convincing.
Thank you.
Do you always say you're a policeman?
No, I improvise. Like the time I lifted his emerald ring from a jeweller's. I was across the road when they stopped me. Was I dismayed? No. I told them I wanted to see what it looked like in the daylight.
Across the other side of the road?
I said the light was better there.
And they believed you.
Can be very persuasive.
Well, you're not talking your way out of this one, Spriggs, and I wouldn't try anything. This gun is loaded.
I knew we'd get back to that. Why don't you put it away? I mean, apart from the fact that it stifles conversation, you don't need it. I'm a sick man. Chronic angina, high blood pressure. I couldn't get away. And even if I did, I couldn't manage those hills. I was raised on the flat. It's all right for the people around here if they've got bigger lungs. They'd soon catch me. That's my trouble. I'm an urban figure in a rural landscape. What chance have I got?
You seem very articulate for a burglar.
I know, I spend most of my days in public libraries.
And most of your life in private frigging houses.
Please, no chance, sir. Any sudden attack could prove fatal.
Okay, you may be a sick man, but how do I know your friends aren't still out there?
Still out there? You've got the noble brotherhood wrong if you think that. They'd be well away. It's like a mission behind enemy lines. Every man for himself. They'll be halfway down the motorway by now.
Yes, and with my property.
Our property?
Our property, and I want it back.
But what do you want me to do about it? Take an advert in the Burglars Weekly? I shan't see him again. I'll be in prison.
But you know who they are.
I know very little about them. Only that they're proud men, deeply ashamed of what they're doing. They've been forced into it by economic necessity, victims of the recession. They led perfectly respectable lives once.
And what's your excuse?
I never trained. I was misled by political promises. They told me that it was a new era, that I was born into a world of leisure. Well, I didn't know they meant unemployment.
And you think that's sufficient? I could put a bullet into you right now.
I wish you could answer. This is a very highly volatile situation, and that vein in your temple's throbbing. Look, you won't get any aggravation from me. It's not my style. Ask anyone. When apprehended, greasy Spriggs offers no resistance and attempts to talk his way out of it. It's on my file.
So that's your real name?
Wanna bet?
What I do to people like you? For the first offence, I'd cut off your right hand. For your second offence, I'd cut off your left hand. And if that didn't cure you...
I don't want to know who you cut off next.
You must agree it would reduce crime.
It would certainly reduce the demand for gloves. There wouldn't be much call for them round our way. The trouble is, one half of the country seems to be robbing the other half. It's bound to cause resentment. My solution is to take it in turns. One half robs Monday, Wednesday and Friday. The other half Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. And we all have Sunday off to enjoy our possessions.
Are you mocking me?
No, I make it a rule never to mock a man with a gun in his hand.
I wouldn't get too emotional, John. He's not worth it. And besides, you can always get it back on the insurance.
And more.
What?
Did you know that insurance claims exceed the value of property stolen by 50%? Get in there, sir. It's your birthday. If you need any receipts...
How dare you? You think I'd descend myself to your level? These were my things and I want them back.
But do you really understand the nature of property? Did you really believe we own anything? The Aborigines don't.
What do the Aborigines have to do with that?
They find the whole idea of ownership laughable. They believe that property is theft.
Well, yours certainly is.
They know they're going to die, and they know you can't take it with you.
If my husband can't take it with him, he's not going.
I don't want to take it with me, Spriggs. I just want it while I'm here.
In 100 years' time, total strangers will be handling your property.
Total strangers are handling it now, Spriggs. Trevor, go to the garage and fetch me some strong rope.
What are you going to do?
We're going to tie him to a chair.
Oh, God, that's a relief. I thought you were going to hang him.
You're not going to wriggle out of this one, Spriggs.
Can't you reason with me, lady? I've got chronic angina. Suppose I need to reach for my tablets. All I was doing was trying to point out the transient nature of property. I mean, one day this house will echo to unknown voices. There'll be alien laughter in the tennis court. Children yet unborn will play in the pool. Strangers will live here.
Well, if they do, they will have bloody well paid for it, Spriggs. And I don't care if he trusses you up like a chicken.
My God, I thought we were supposed to be the weaker sex.
My wife was mugged last year and relieved of a sapphire and diamond brooch worth £15,000. So you'll find little sympathy in her. Tie him to the chair. As fast as you can.
You should be able to breathe.
That's not essential.
My God. Get on with it, Art.
That's not trouble. Barbara, get back to preparing that list, would you?
Yeah, well, wouldn't it be quicker if he did it?
Barbara,
All right. What are you going to do?
I'm going to get down to the Coopers. Perhaps they're already back. Give her a hand, will you, Jenny? Perhaps you would try to take the fist. Know how to use it?
Yes?
I'll go back to you, Spriggs.
I thought that sounded rather ominous, didn't you?
Yes.
Of course, I'm used to threats. The big question at the moment is, who use that gun?
Surely the big question at the moment is, would I use it?
I already know the answer to that. You wouldn't, Rudy.
You will, if you make him angry.
I'll try to avoid that in the future.
He has his temper. He's never think of the consequences. John's always been the sort of man who's gone through life without ever reading the small print.
And you do.
I've always been more cautious.
Doesn't seem to have done much harm.
No. The strange thing is, he was such a favorite at school.
Makes you wonder.
Yes.
You knew him at school then?
Oh, yes. I was head boy. I had to protect him. He was bullied.
They bullied him?
Oh, he was smaller then.
He must have been.
Never expected he would become such a great success.
And what did you become?
I'm a sort of minor civil servant.
And what does he do?
Well, he's that managing director at this large international conglomerate. He started from school. They expanded and he never looked back.
So you could say he was in the right place at the right time.
Well, yes, but he worked for it. He came from virtually nothing. I'm proud of him.
You're proud of him?
Yes.
Let me get this straight. At school, he was a failure, and you were a big success. And now the situation's reversed, and you're proud of him?
Oh, yes.
Why don't you admit it? You hate the bastard!
No, why should I? I'm pleased for him.
You're not, because you've lost, and there's no such thing as a good loser.
Oh, I'm used to losing.
That doesn't mean you have to like it. Let me ask you something. If that bastard had a heart attack, which can't be far off if you ask me, what would be your strongest feeling?
Oh, I'd be sorry.
You'd be bloody delighted.
You're wrong. I'm not jealous of John, because money never changed him. He always kept in touch. He always preferred my company to that of his fancy friends. He's totally unspoiled.
Some might take that view. Others might see him as a rich bastard who has you around so he can flaunt it.
No.
You're his yardstick, that's all.
On
With you he can measure how far he's come.
On the contrary, it's because he enjoys my company. We do most things together. We swim, we play tennis.
I've seen you play tennis.
You've watched us?
This afternoon from the lane. I was the rustic figure in a pork pie hat roosting on the stick.
That was you?
Yes. I like a good sporting contest. Not that it was very sporting. It wasn't much of a contest. Do you always lose?
Well, he's a good player. What do you mean by not very sporting?
He cheats.
No.
He cheats on the line calls.
No!
And he
Oh,
gloats.
he's never gloated.
He does. When he's got his back to you, positively gloats. And why do you always have to play at that end?
Which end?
The end of the tree.
Look, it's only friendly. We don't bother to change ends.
There's nothing friendly about it. He forces you into that tree. You're playing half your shots out of the branches. You need to be a bleeding monkey.
Look, it doesn't matter. It's only a game.
It may be only a game, but if he cheats at one thing, he will cheat at another.
What do you mean?
I mean, no one makes all this money without robbing someone.
Oh, no. He got a share option.
What's that?
Well, the company gave him an option to buy shares. They went up in value. He was able to take the profit.
Suppose they gone down.
Well, he wouldn't have had to buy them. It was only an option.
Is that legal?
Oh, yes.
And how much did he make?
About 3 million.
3 m... And you're sure it's legal?
Yes. They're called gold handcuffs. The company didn't want to lose him.
I know all about handcuffs, but I've never come across that variety. You mean he trousered 3 million quid?
Yes, but no one got robbed. The shares just simply went up in value.
Why?
Because the profits went up?
Exactly. And why did the profits went up? Because they reduced the workforce and put half of the production out to subcontractors. So someone got robbed, didn't they?
Who?
The poor sod that got laid off.
How do you know all this?
I know. 3 million. Makes you wonder what's in that safe.
How did you know about this safe?
I know.
Why didn't you open it?
Who do you think I am? Raffles? That's a Webley. The sheer sight of one of those is enough to make strong men weep.
Didn't you loan it with gelinite?
Not my scene, Trevor. Too volatile for the uninitiated. I knew a bloke who tried to blow up a Webley. When the smoke cleared, the safe was still intact. But he was standing there stark bollock naked with his dick in his hand. You need to know the combination. 6 figures. Something personal to the owner, so you won't forget it.
You know his date of birth?
Yes. Found his birth certificate.
Birth certificate. How?
But I just did. He was there. Did you know he was a bastard?
What?
Mind you, I didn't need to see his birth certificate to tell me that. I'd almost given up when I noticed the cards.
Cards?
Wedding anniversary cards.
I don't think John would like to remember that.
But could he forget it? I know I can't. So I started to try a few combinations, and now that's how I got trapped. What's the anniversary today?
Yes.
And how long have they been married?
About 20 years.
20 years. You don't get that for killing someone. So that would be the 25th of October, 76. 251076. I wonder if that's the combination.
Well, it's too late to find out.
Is it? Are you an honest man, Trevor? No. None of us do until we're tested. Is it honesty or the fear of being caught? How would you like to go?
What do you mean?
I mean that we've got the right combination. There's money in that safe. What about it? Is that money against my freedom?
You're crazy.
Am I? Trevor, that money's ill-gotten. That means it won't be reported. And you'll never have a better chance. You won't be suspected, I will. And I'll be gone. 251076.
Don't even know if there's money in that safe.
No one has a Webley to keep his coffins in. I mean, my sources tell me the figure could be adjacent to 100,000. What? Say you left the room for a few moments, and when you came back, I was gone.
No, I couldn't do it to John.
He'd do it to you. 251076.
No.
He'd do it to you and worse. 251076.
Barbara said she needs a strong man with jump the drawers and a tall boy.
What about him?
Oh, I'll say.
Are you sure?
Yes, I can speak to Trevor just as well as you.
My God, whatever happened to the gentle sex? I blame those video nasties. I thought you'd be more understanding,
Don't,
more compassionate.
don't depend.
Don't you believe in forgiveness? Don't you believe in giving someone a chance? A last chance? I can't face prison, not again. What's the point? It'll only come out worse than I went in.
I find that hard to believe.
Whereas if you were to let me go, I swear I'd never reoffend. I swear that on the head of my dying mother.
Dying mother?
She doesn't know it. Lingering illness. Tonight she'll speed things up. Shock will probably kill her.
Spare me the details.
No, you don't want to hear, do you? You'll be all waiting for me tonight, round the table, looking at that empty chair. My poor mother, my anxious wife, my daughter, pregnant at 15, my youngest, learning difficulties.
You seem very unfortunate in your choice of relatives.
Well, perhaps you would like to make a phone call, telling them that Dad's going to be late. 5 years late, the rest of his life late.
Well, I would, but you've got the telephone wires.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised. No one's ever believed in me, why should you? If they had, things might have been different. Tell me something. Can you put your hand on your heart and say that you've never done anything dishonest?
I most certainly...
Oh, you just thought of something.
It's not important.
Then why can't you tell me?
It was a long time ago.
There's no statute of limitation on crime.
It wasn't a crime. It was when I was a student.
Yes.
Really. There was this bookstore on the market.
Go on.
It was kept by a one-eyed man. He wore a patch.
One eye. Sounds promising.
boxes of books. Some at £5, some at £1. The book I wanted was the Oxford Book of English Verse. It was in the £5 box. Are you with me?
With you, I'm ahead of you.
Oh, I was a post student. Every Saturday I haggled with him over the price, but he wouldn't reduce it.
So?
One lunchtime he went to the pub and left the stall in the charge of a small boy with glasses.
Glasses? Good eyesight seemed to have been at a premium on that stall.
While he was gone, I took the book from the £5 box and put it in a £1 box and asked the boy in glasses how much it cost.
And he said
It was an impulse.
£1. Don't you believe it? That was carried out with all the skill and cunning of an international fraud. And by getting Four Eyes to name the price, we avoided any possibility of retribution. It was flawless.
It was quite trivial.
Trivial? And what happened when the old one-eye got back from the pub, found the book missing and checked his float? Who'd get the blame? I'll tell you, Four Eyes. A clip around the ear and an instant dismissal.
I don't suppose he even noticed.
No, you don't think so. Now, did you ever go back to that stall?
No.
And do you ever quote from the Oxford Book of English Verse without thinking about boy in glasses?
No.
And do you know what it feels like to be wrongfully accused and sent on a downward spiral? Well, I do. That happened to me. How's that boy in glasses?
There's nothing I can do about it now.
You can. You can right that wrong. You can let me go. Give me another chance. If I'd been given another chance all those years ago, life might have been different.
You mean like the bishop's candlesticks?
Bishop's candlesticks? I wasn't in on that job. I never robbed the church.
It's a story. The convict stole the bishop's candlesticks, but he didn't press charges, and the man became a respectable citizen.
That's what I mean. What about it?
If I let you go, will you promise never to come back?
I promise.
And you'll never do this sort of thing again.
I swear, on my mother's life.
Hurry up before someone comes back.
Oh, God bless you.
Wait! Take this. What's the matter?
Those things out there, diving and squeaking, are those bats?
Yes, they're catching insects.
They get into people's hair, don't they?
No, that's an old wives' thing.
But they're blind, aren't they?
That's why they make those little squeaky noises.
I'll make little squeaky noises when they get in my hair.
Where are you going?
I think I'll leave by the front.
Trevor says, can you get his toolkit from... Then why is he untied?
The ropes were hurting him.
You should be more careful. He's as slippery as an eel. Go on, I'll take care of him.
Are you sure?
Hang about? Is that wise? She wasn't even allowed to drive the car home. If a car's a loaded gun in the hands of a drunk, what's a loaded gun? That's what I want to know.
I'm not drunk. Go on, Jenny.
I won't be a moment.
Go.
I wish you stopped waving that about. What does he want a gun for anyway?
He uses it to shoot rabbits. He says it helps him relax.
Well, I must say, I've never seen anyone in more need of relaxation than your husband. But do you think it works?
I don't know. It certainly relaxes the rabbit.
That's what worries me. Well, I got a dodgy rabbit, and I don't like the way that vein's throbbing in his temple, and the way he keeps saying frigging all the time.
Oh, would you prefer he used something stronger?
No. I'm all for verbal restraint. In my view, bad language is only one short physical step behind violence. That's what those Hampstead friends didn't realise when they encouraged the working classes to swear. Now they're wondering why they're being knocked down in alleyways.
Well, if you don't like violence, you'd better sit down.
Hate me, don't you? Is it because you've been mugged?
Well, what do you think?
Were you hurt?
Not really. It wasn't an underground car park. He came out of the shadows, snatched my bag, then my necklace and my earrings.
And your brooch.
Yes. And then he left without a word. I felt like a soldier who'd been stripped out of his rank on the parade ground.
And that's all that happened.
Yes, he didn't try to snatch anything else.
Did they, catch him?
No, I didn't even know what he looked like. He wore a balaclava helmet.
Ooh, so you couldn't identify him?
No. I thought for a moment it might have been my husband trying to get some of his money back. He had the right height.
Does he object to you spending money?
Don't all husbands?
Well, I understand it's the main source of contention between couples.
He says I'm the black hole in our personal finances. No, he never even asked me if I'd been hurt, just what was taken.
And a diamond and sapphire butterfly brooch had been taken. Worth £15,000.
Yes.
Still, I suppose it was insured.
Yes, but it's not the same, is it? I mean, my husband gave it to me on my birthday.
Ooh, so he can be generous.
Yes, although not as generous as he once was. I notice when he makes checks out these days, the pen squeaks more than it used to. There's more flourish to his signature, and the sound as he rips the perforation is quite deafening.
So you don't have your own money?
You ask a lot of questions, don't you?
Fascinated by other people's lives.
Oh, so is that why you bring me?
Don't burst in. I enter with reverence. With a sense of privilege. And it's been a privilege to do this work.
Really?
Everything is such exquisite taste. Some of the rooms, breathtaking. I must compliment you on your sense of colour and style.
How do you know it's my taste?
It's usually a woman. And you're obviously more mature than he is. I suppose that's because you're older.
What? How did you know that? I don't look it, do I?
But don't squeeze that trigger. It was only a casual remark. You don't look older. In fact, you look younger.
And how did you know?
And your birth certificate.
What?
It was in the escritoire, in your bedroom, in the secret drawer.
You looked at my birth certificate?
I hope you don't mind.
So you don't just take things, you pry!
Well, like I said, I'm fascinated by other people's lives.
And when you looked in that drawer, did you find anything else?
Oh, yes. And, since it's something you may not be able to claim for on insurance a second time, I think I'll tell you. 1 diamond in sapphire butterfly brooch, early Victorian, worth 15 grand, lost in that valley.
Thank you. Suppose I were to let you go?
I thought you might.
You'd better go through the garden.
You won't shoot me, sort of by accident.
I'm not drunk.
I didn't say you were.
Look, you'd better hurry.
Just one question. Why were you so sure you hadn't set the alarm?
I remembered not doing it.
But if it was absent-mindedness, how can you be so sure? Unless it was deliberate, but that wouldn't make any sense, would it? Oh, would it?
Goodbye, Spriggs.
Bye.
Barbara is getting away!
Does it hurt? Of course it bloody hurts!
Let me look.
Are you a doctor?
No.
Then keep away!
I only want to help you.
Yeah, help me to an early grave.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry? It's a bit late for sorry, isn't it?
I feel dreadful.
You feel dreadful? As soon as I saw that gun, I knew it was going to be used. Now look at me. I happen to believe what a noble work is man. I've always considered my body a sacred trust. I've looked after it. And now I find I have one more hole than enter intended.
Look, I said
And all
I
because
was
of you.
sorry.
Well, you can't say it off the night, as far as I'm concerned.
Look, I take all responsibility.
Good, because there's a 3-year prison sentence in this for someone, and damages.
What?
I'm not a bloody rabbit, I have rights.
But you were trying to get away.
Well, can you blame me?
Look, let me take your coat.
Don't touch me. I may not be much, but I've never shot anyone.
Listen, you came at the dead of night into my house.
Our house?
What did I expect? I expect you set me an example. I expect some moral leadership. Instead of which I get gotten down on the bleeding axe and stuff.
Well, no one invited you to come.
Don't worry. I'll wait for an invitation next time, in gold lettering.
Well, it certainly proves one thing. I could never kill anyone.
Well, you made a bloody good stab at it. That's all I can say. I'm tired.
You're talking an awfully great deal for somebody who's dying, Spriggs.
Why not? I may not have another chance. This may be my very last words.
Look, I am convinced to frighten you.
Then you succeeded beyond your wildest dreams.
What worries me is that I can't see any blood.
That's because I'm anemic.
I thought it was high blood pressure.
I have. Any idea what strain that puts on the system? High blood pressure and no blood.
My worry is that he's bleeding internally.
And mine.
Could we offer you something to drink?
That would be fatal with a stomach wound.
I'll take a sip. My mouth's dry.
That's from all the talking.
I'll get some water.
No, vintage port, if you don't mind. If I'm going, I'll go in style.
Think we should call the ambulance?
Oh, perhaps we should. Someone's cut the telephone line.
Oh, perhaps we could fix it.
Oh, right. Let's take a look. Oh, Barbara, try to get some sleep. You look terrible.
Terrible. Did you hear that? She looks terrible. What did I mean?
I must say you're very lively for someone who's dying.
Yes, well, I'm functioning entirely on adrenaline at the moment.
You really should let me take a look.
No, it's too late. Get me a cigarette, would you?
Yes, there used to be a silver cigarette box on the coffee table.
Get there. I wonder where it went.
I think there's some in the study. I won't be a moment.
Damn, it's locked. If you see smoke appearing from an unexpected departure, don't be alarmed.
I'm glad to see you haven't lost your sense of humor.
Well, if I'm going, I'll go with a merry quip on my lips.
You're very brave.
Well, we never know what inner resources we have until we need to call on them.
My God!
What's the matter?
You're beginning to bleed.
Am I?
Let me look.
Are you ready for this? Oh, you wouldn't have made a nurse, I can see that.
Very pale.
Well, I'm very pale.
It's sport!
What?
It isn't blood, it's sport. You haven't been shot, you've been pretending.
I was shot! Only in my prayer book! Where are you going?
I'm going to tell them.
No, you're not.
Why not?
Because of this.
My locket!
Yes? You couldn't have worn it tonight, could you? Not from there.
Oh, give it to me.
He gave it to you, didn't he?
What do you mean?
I mean that the locket usually has two pictures of the woman and her beloved. And so there's this. But the beloved ain't Trevor. What do you want? To get out of here, that's all. Take yours.
Trevor's getting the laugh. What's going on here?
He's bleeding.
Oh no!
I'm afraid so.
Oh, Margaret.
What?
There's tiled floor in the kitchen. Maybe we can take you there.
Charming!
I'll get a towel.
No, don't rush. I want to talk to the smart.
Still talking, Spriggs? I think you'd want to save your breath.
Well, I just want to say, if I were to die,
Yes.
it's going to look very bad for you.
Worse for you, I'd imagine.
Perhaps you don't care what happens to your wife?
Why do you say that?
She could get into serious trouble. You both could. Shooting someone with an unlicensed gun.
What makes you think it's unlicensed?
Guns at that age usually are. Not going to look very good. Managing director and shooting incident. Doesn't inspire business confidence. You get my drift.
Yes.
The important thing is to put as much distance between myself and this house as soon as possible.
How can you do that? You're wounded.
I'll manage.
There are still out there, aren't there?
Possibly. But not for long. They're city dwellers. The countryside makes them nervous. And there are those eyes.
What eyes?
Well, those eyes! Every time you flash a light, there they are. Yellow and green, staring at you through the bushes.
And they're probably deer.
I don't care what they are, it's bleeding intimidating. Why do our eyes light up like that?
I have no idea.
A good thing, I suppose. It would make floodlit football out of the question. Imagine 5,000 pairs of eyes lighting up in the main stand. Frightening. God, I hate the countryside.
Like I said, no one invited you.
You're right. And if you just tell me that the key to the garden door is, I'll make myself scarce.
It's right there. But I didn't say you can take it. I'm thinking.
Well, don't leave it too long. What are you thinking about?
Why are you holding your side when the bullet's embedded up there in the plaster?
What?
By the window.
It must have ricocheted.
It bounced off you, Spriggs. My God, what are you made of? You must have a hide like a rhinoceros.
Right. It was worth a shot, wasn't it?
Oh, Spriggs, don't try to bluff a bluffer. I've had men like you for breakfast. And you're not leaving this place. I'm going to lock you up in the cellar.
No.
Yes, you're a devious little toad, Spriggs, and I don't trust you.
Can't we be civilised about this?
But you're not civilised, are you?
I am. I have standards. I have my parameters. I wouldn't rob a church.
Oh, I guess that's fairly uncommon.
Don't you believe it? I know of a certain stained glass window, much admired, a scent of Lazarus, which is currently praising the Tokyo restaurant. And I know of another geezer who has an edible font on his patio, stuffed with geraniums. And that's what I call a decline in moral standards.
Don't tell me you're religious.
Yeah, Anglican. I don't go as often as I should. And I'm in dispute over woman priest, but...
But you're still a thief.
No one's perfect.
Wait a second. Thou shalt not steal?
But that's just 1 out of 10. I haven't worshipped any graven images. I haven't coveted my neighbour's ass or ox or his wife.
Yes, I guess we should be grateful.
Well, let's face it. Everyone's on the make these days, aren't they? What about those directors of privatised companies, voting themselves fat pay rises? And who are they? Just civil servants who got lucky. And what about those water board, eh? Hundreds of millions in dividends last year, and now they want to meter our water. And that comes from God.
Yes, but it has to be filtered.
That's the trouble. Everything that comes from God gets filtered.
Okay, if you feel like this, rob them, not me.
Don't worry, I will. I've got their addresses. In the meantime, you're not doing so badly yourself. What about those share options? What a nice little earner. And all perfectly legal.
Yes, that's the difference between you and me.
No. The only difference is you can do it without a mask. You can do it barefaced. 3 million.
That money was earned.
But not by you. By the poor buggers you've laid off. What I want to know is when you've laid everyone off, who's going to buy the bleeding goods?
Come on, Spriggs, don't tell me you're an economist as well as a philosopher. There is still work, it has only been subcontracted to reduce overheads.
Subcontracted? Do me a favour. You mean a family sweatshop in Birmingham with Granny turning out the washers in the outhouse? Now, what I'm saying is, since the unemployed earned the money in the first place, and since I'm unemployed, I'm sort of entitled. What I'm involved here is redistribution of wealth, that's all.
Oh, I'm sorry, Spriggs, you're not a criminal, you're Robin Hood.
No, I don't give it to the poor. I merely keep trying to point out the ephemeral quality of money. One day it's there, the next day it's gone.
Yeah, it's certainly gone when you've been around. Come on, Spriggs, it's a one-sided argument, and you know that.
Of course it's a one-sided argument. You don't expect me to take your side as well. If the truth's known, we're all as bad as each other.
Well, I'm as bad as you.
I blame it on our forebears. Once upon a time, the old caveman would grab a piece of meat with both hands and gnaw it to death in the corner. Then one day he found he could eat out of one hand and hold another piece for later. That's when the first merchant banker was born.
You dare compare yourself to me?
So I didn't mean to offend you. Actually, I was trying to steer conversation into colder water. But the trouble is, when I'm confronted with a gun, I tend to gabble.
I'll have none more of it. Society has its rules, and I abide by them.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Then what's in that safe?
What say?
The safe behind Encyclopedia Britannica. My favourite reading, as a matter of fact.
How did you know about the safe?
I know. A Webley. A Rolls Royce among saints. No one has it to keep his housekeeping. And the talk is there's over 100 grand in there.
Talk? What talk? Where?
Among the denizens of the underworld.
You mean I'm being watched?
Of course you're being watched. You're all being watched. It's a good thing our eyes don't shine in the dark. Otherwise, when you turn your lights on, you see so many gleaming eyeballs out there, you'd be dazzled. Now, I'm not a businessman, but I have to ask myself, why keep a large amount of money in a safe when it could be in a bank earning interest?
Perhaps I have to make large cash payments.
You mean to third world gentlemen to grease the wheels of commerce?
Yes, something like that.
It's nothing like that. The money's not going out, it's coming in. From our friend, the grateful subcontractor.
Oh, you don't know that.
I know, because it was an embittered subcontractor who told me.
Bittered? It's because I wouldn't accept shoddy work. The work has to be first class. And if it was true, and I deny everything, but even if it was true, the company doesn't suffer. So who's losing?
The Inland Revenue for a start.
You're going to the cellar.
No, don't do that, Gov. I don't like cellars. They're too gothic for my taste. I was only speculating. I won't say a word honest. After all, I didn't tell Trevor you were having enough with his wife.
What?
I said you were being watched. I'm not judging you. I can understand it. A man of your virility, married to an older woman, bound to be tempted. Stands to reason.
Spriggs, if you so much as breathe a syllable of what you said now, not only will I deny everything, but I will make you regret every single... Older woman? What do you mean, older woman? My wife is not an older woman.
I don't suppose some people would think that 5 years is important.
5 years? She's a year younger than me.
Is she?
Yes.
Well, not according to her birth certificate.
You've seen her birth certificate?
Yes. Haven't you?
Well, I can see you haven't.
Only when I compared it with yours.
With mine?
With your birth certificate. And I'm sorry about your unfortunate start in life, but there's no shame.
You've been going through our papers.
Not to satisfy any vulgar curiosity, I assure you. And I couldn't be mistaken. I mean, your wife's a fine-looking woman. And no one looks her best at this time of the night.
Yes, but 5 years.
Like I said, I could be mistaken. But I did see it in black and white. And what can't speak can't lie.
5 years.
I couldn't prepare the wines, but I wondered. Maybe we could put him on a lawnmower.
5 years.
Is everything all right, John?
5 bloody years, Trevor.
No, 3.
3.
Well, at least he said that. But it wouldn't come for that. No court could convict you. Either of you. Now, if we put him on a mower...
There's no need.
What?
He hasn't been wounded. The bullet's up there in the plaster.
But he said...
I know what he said, but he's a liar, so don't believe anything he tells you, Trevor. Anything.
Sorry, I will.
Yeah, you believe him like you believe his line calls.
Line calls?
Oh, you watch us play tennis?
And?
Well, he says you cheat.
Cheat?
Well, he says you pull the ball out when it's in.
What do you think?
Well, I don't think you cheat.
I most certainly think so.
But you do pull the ball out when it's in.
What?
Well, you see, I hit the ball with a lot of swerve. At first it starts out, but at the very last moment it goes in.
Trevor, the way I see it is that it starts out and at the very last moment it stays out.
If you say so.
Not if I say so, Trevor. I call them as I see them.
Perhaps you don't see them very well.
Trevor, what's come over you? We've never went in for gamesmanship.
Then why does he always have to play at that end?
Yes! Why do I have to play at that end?
What end?
At the end of the tree!
What tree?
The giant chestnut, my God! Is it?
You don't have to. You don't have to play at the end of the tree. I'll play on the end of the tree. I didn't even notice the tree.
And what about the tree shot?
What tree shot?
The one when you lock the ball under the branches and I disappear. There. You won't find that shot in any textbook.
Trevor, I told you. You don't have to play under the tree. I'll play under the tree. Not that it matters, because you never win.
I won at school.
Yes, but that was a long time ago, and things were different like that.
Yes, we had umpires.
Trevor, what are you talking about? It's just a game.
Oh yes, John, but if you cheat at one thing, you'll cheat at another.
Trevor, it's tennis, it's not life.
Yes, but in real life, you play on an unmarked court that bounces in and everybody cheats and there's no bloody umpire!
I didn't know you felt like this, Trevor. I thought you enjoyed our little games. What brought this on in the first... It was him, wasn't he? Where is he?
He's gone.
Oh, he's not getting far.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to kill him. Spriggs!
What's happening?
Oh, Spriggs has escaped. John's chasing him.
Oh my God, he'll kill him!
That seems to be the general idea.
Where is Spriggs?
He's gone.
Oh God, I've killed him.
Bastard. John's chasing him around the garden.
Aren't you going to help?
No.
What happened?
John and I had an argument.
Well, what about?
Tennis. Well, it went deeper than that.
How much deeper?
I called him a cheat. He called me a loser.
Well, where's the argument? I'd hardly quarrel with either of those things.
What?
Look, John doesn't mean to cheat. He just likes to win. He likes to win more than he likes to play. In fact, you know, I suppose he'd be perfectly happy if you phoned your game in as long as he got to win. He's a winner, Trevor. That's why he'll never partner me at doubles. He says I don't stand right. He says I should stand with my legs flexed, pantherish and ready to strike. I don't quite know what he means. He says I stand as if I'm waiting for a bus. Since I've never waited for a bus in my life, I don't quite know what that means either.
Is that what John really thinks of me? That I'm a loser?
It's hard to tell what John really thinks. I mean, he's a man of few words, so you have to read it all of his facial expression. And that is very unfortunate, because his face is almost certainly blank. I know he has mixed feelings about you.
Mixed feelings? But I'm his oldest friend. We were at school together.
I know. You bullied him, didn't you?
Oh, no, I was head boy. I had to protect him. I had to stamp out bullying.
Mm-hmm. So why did you shut his hand in the desk and then sit on the lid?
I didn't. Did he tell you that? You don't believe it, surely?
Well, it would explain those fat hands.
I don't remember doing that.
You You wouldn't. It wasn't your hand. And besides, isn't this what boys do? I mean, I suppose we should be grateful it was just his hand.
He never mentioned anything about this. You must have confused me with someone else.
You seem to have total amnesia when your school days up in St. Trevor. Do you remember breaking his arm?
That was an accident. We were wrestling.
But you do remember it.
Yes.
You should do. He said it snapped like a twig. He spent that entire summer with his arm in a plaster cast whilst yours was around Jenny's waist where his should have been.
Barbara, she doesn't even remember him from these days.
Well, not at all.
There was a crowd of us. She remembers a plaster cast sort of waving about in the background, but that's all.
What a fickle thing memory is. He remembers her. You know, he raves about her. Her blonde ponytail, her long brown legs. Mind you, he has seen a lot of those legs recently, bending low over the net, pantheadish and ready to strike, and showing off an abundance of frilly knickers.
I haven't noticed.
Oh, John certainly has. It's been affecting his service. I mean, his double faults have increased alarmingly.
Barbara, John has those mixed feelings about me. Why does he ask me out here?
Oh, God, can't you guess? Why did you do that?
Well, I felt like it.
Trevor, I've never felt like it before. I always took you for a man who would take yes for an answer.
Well, are you saying yes?
No!
Why not?
Look, I'll let you in on a little secret. I still love John. Just don't tell anyone.
Well, I always thought it was for the money.
No, that's just a delightful coincidence.
Barbara.
And I'll tell you something else that might surprise you. I'm older than you are.
Oh, I know that.
What?
Jenny said you were older.
Oh, did she now? Well, suppose I said, considerably older? Suppose I said, 3 years?
We thought about 5.
Fine, my God, I don't look it, do I?
It doesn't matter, you know. For some reason, I always preferred older women.
That's probably because they can't run as fast.
I suppose all that knowledge, all that experience, all that history.
Now I'm beginning to feel like a flight of steps worn by the pilgrims. Is that something to do with your mother?
Of course not. You're nothing like my mother.
Well, I'm certainly like somebody's mother. Probably John's, you know, and he just does not get any older. I long to see a speck of grey or detect a limb or even hear a little creaking. He just keeps getting younger. Now he's begun to look at me broodingly. They say that's the first sign when your husband begins to look at you broodingly.
Well, sign of what?
And that you're on the way out.
So, is John a sort of man who can't take yes for an answer?
No, John's forgotten the question.
Well, I haven't.
That's John! He's shooting at Spriggs!
It sounds as if he's making sure of him.
Oh, God, one thing you can say about John, he's thorough.
Look at this for a game of soldiers. Is there a church around here?
Why?
I'm thinking of seeking sanctuary.
Well, there is one in the village, but that's 5 miles away.
I'll never make it. My blood pressure's sky high. I'm going to have a heart attack.
Well, that is your own fault. You will keep running about.
Of course I keep running about. He's trying to kill me.
But that's the problem. You're bringing out his hunting instincts.
In that case, I'll stand perfectly still. He's too fond of that garment you asked me. I think it's some sort of a phallic symbol.
Well, things are improving now. At least we have a symbol.
Get out from behind my wife, you coward!
Yeah, and get shot, no thanks. I'm safe with you.
I wouldn't be so sure.
John, Spriggs isn't going to run away. Look at him, he's worn out.
Look, I'll give you my word.
The one thing we've established tonight is that your word is frigging worthless.
I couldn't get away, even if I wanted.
And you will,
I haven't got the strength.
and you will not get away because I'm going to lock you up in the cellar.
The cellar? Ugh. Are you sure that's fair, John?
Why?
Well, aren't you forgetting about the rat?
What did you say?
Nothing.
Well, if he does have a weak heart.
He doesn't have a weak heart.
And if he does,
We'll leave the light on.
that won't help. They've been getting bolder.
Christ! She did say rats. I'm not going down there. I can't stand rats.
I think we found his weakness.
My weakness? They're every bugger's weakness. I'm not going down there.
I don't think you have a choice, Spriggs.
But haven't I? Are you sure?
Quite sure.
I was going to return it. I hope it's not damaged. I hope the hinge is all right. But perhaps you'd like to open it.
It doesn't open.
Oh, I thought it did. I thought it was the nature of a locket.
I thought you were going to put him in a cellar.
I'm going to, and he's going to stay there until he remembers where my property is.
Our property?
Our property. Get the cellar key, Barbara.
But I can't stand rats.
Really? I would have thought you'd feel quite at home.
At least we've got your locket back.
Yes.
Pity, though. We could have claimed for it. Money would have been useful.
It was my mother's.
Yes, I was forgetting.
Still, we could claim for it.
What?
Well, Barbara says claim for everything. We pay enough insurance.
But you haven't lost it.
Well, they don't know that. We could claim for some gold cufflinks as well.
But I don't have any gold cufflinks.
Oh, you wouldn't if they'd been stolen.
I've never had any gold cufflinks.
I don't know that.
Well, stop saying that, Jenny. It would be stealing.
But does it matter?
Well, of course it matters.
Trevor, women are getting £15,000 for having babies. I didn't.
What women?
Army women.
But you weren't in the army.
A woman got £20,000 because they wouldn't let her be a motor mechanic.
But you don't want to be a motor mechanic.
You can walk down the street, get bumped on the nose, and end up with £1,000.
But you haven't been bumped on the nose.
Somebody bumped you on the nose.
What are you trying to say?
I want to know where we went wrong.
We didn't, but we will go wrong if we make a false claim. I'm surprised at you, Jenny.
Are you? Trevor, my washing machine is 15 years old. Likewise, my fridge. And my oven door is secured by a leather strap. Have you seen their kitchen? And you said we haven't gone wrong.
Things will get that right.
Will they?
We have to plan.
Plan! We've had 3-year plans. We've had 5-year plans. We've even had 7-year plans. We've had more plans than Soviet Russia. Things don't seem to get any better. Since creep into the wardrobe and count my shoes. You still switch the car engine off when going down the hill. A grave risk to life and living. You even suggested that we open the bedroom curtains and undress by the light of the street lamp. Until someone whistled from the street and shouted, "Get him off!"
Well, it was only a suggestion. We have to make economies.
Oh, well, I'm tired of making economies.
Is that what you wanted the money for? The kitchen?
I don't want to do the frigging kitchen.
Frigging?
I want to go to a beauty clinic. I want a liposuction and I want collagen and I want to lighten my hair.
Why?
Because I always had more fun blonde.
Two, 5, 1, 0, 7, 6.
Why don't you get some sleep?
I'm not tired.
Aren't you?
What do I look tired?
Would I know?
What do you mean, would you know? You'd know if I looked tired, wouldn't you?
Not anymore. You may be just looking your age.
My age.
5 years.
What?
5 bloody years.
He told you.
Yes, he did. What else are you not telling me? How many secrets are you hiding?
How many are you?
5 years.
Oh, don't keep saying that.
No, 6. You wouldn't settle for being my age. You had to be a year younger. Now how's that for vanity?
Well, it doesn't matter now.
Of course it matters. It's false pretenses.
False pretenses? You mean like if you bought a car, you'd expect the mileage to be correct?
Yes.
God, I'm beginning to feel more like an old Katina every day.
5 years.
Look, it's not important.
It's not important. Why did you lie about it, Barbara?
You may find this laughable, but I was frightened of losing you.
Losing me or losing the money? Because that's why you married me, didn't you? It was for the money.
You mean there was something else? I must have missed that. Look, I didn't mean it, John. All right. So it's 5 years. But which 5 years?
What do you mean, which 5 years?
Well, if it was my first 5 years, I practically did nothing but rest in my pram. That can't have been very aging.
You know which 5 years I mean. The 5 years you had and I hadn't. The last 5 years.
Yeah, but you were here all the time.
Yes, but it's 5 years of living. It's 5 years of breathing, talking, walking.
Yeah, I never walk anywhere, you know that.
What about up and down stairs? If you remember how many times you've climbed those, it must add up to like a week's walking.
Yes, I must admit that does sound rather tiring.
And what you did up there when you got there.
What do you mean?
I mean the bedroom. There must have been a lot of that during your lost 5 years.
Yeah, only in comparison with now. And besides, you've got nothing to complain about. I've given you everything that a younger woman would, even children. What, do you think it was easy to keep up with those young mothers who can give birth and then run a mile? No. In fact, I've given you more. I've graced your table. Don't laugh. Before you met me, you thought a side plate was somewhere to rest your elbow on. You wanted polished sophistication, and I gave you that. I entertained your friends, I furthered your career. That's more than that black-bloomed nymph could have done.
Black-bloomed nymph? What are you talking about?
You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'd hit you with that, except you'd accuse me of deliberately damaging it. Oh, God, you're so children. She doesn't even remember you. And Trevor's probably got a thing about his infant teacher.
Trevor?
Yes, he made a pass.
What?
And you know why? Because he felt entitled.
Entitled? I don't know what you mean.
Oh, don't you? And you talk about deceit.
No, I'm talking about you lying about your age. It's an act of an aging bimbo.
Oh, don't say that, John. Don't say aging. And as for bimbo, I'm never quite sure what that means.
A woman who bestows sexual favours for financial gain.
I thought that was a housewife.
That has always been your problem. You've always resented being the wife. You were jealous of my success.
Our success?
No, my success.
All right, John, so you've been successful. Haven't exactly discovered the secret of the universe.
You know what you suffer from? Penis envy.
Penis envy? You mean yours? Describe it to me, because I hadn't seen it for quite some time. But I seem to remember it wasn't much to look at.
How dare you!
No, how dare you! I don't want a penis. I don't want to be standing in the meadow and shooting sparkling jets over the head, or writing my name in the snow, amusing as that might be. I would love John. Where are you going?
Down to the Coopers again. I hope they're in. Barbara, please try to get some sleep.
They've gone. Better come this way.
Right. Where's the sheriff?
He's going down to the Coopers. Better give him a minute.
Right. Want a drink?
No.
It's more to Cadet? 66. Very bad.
You shouldn't be doing that.
I know, I don't like drinking straight from the bottle. I prefer a little cock glass. Doesn't have some drink and some cheese with it. Possibly a rich Stilton. Mind you, that would have been virtual suicide down there. I would have had those little buggers swarming over me.
I meant you shouldn't be drinking his wine.
I deserve it. It took me an hour to get the cork out. And if he didn't want me to drink his wine, he shouldn't have locked me in the cellar.
You'd better make your way across the field. When you get to the lane, you'll find it leads to a B road. And what's the matter?
Across the field? It's going to play cat. It's going to play havoc with these shoes. And what about the cattle? I heard them moving around out there.
They're only cows. They won't hurt you.
It would be just my luck to meet one with anthrax. And there's the question of transport. I'm not going to get very far on foot.
What about a gang? Haven't you arranged a rendezvous?
A rendezvous? That lot? The rank amateurs that don't know the meaning of the word? At this very moment, they're probably driving the wrong way down the M62 in a state of total panic.
Look, I think you really should go.
Oh, just one thing. Oh, why are you doing this? And don't tell me it's because of that Oxford Book of English Verse, and don't tell me it's because of the locket. So why?
I don't like the idea of you going to prison.
Not.
You remind me of my father.
Do I? Is he a crook?
No! He's a magistrate.
I can understand the confusion. Well, thank you for restoring an old man's faith in human nature. If it's any comfort to you, this bottle of wine is the last thing I'll ever steal. If I ever come round these parts again, it'll be for the maple dancing. Better get back to your room before someone sees you.
Good luck.
And you too. Well, almost the last thing.
Two, five, 1, 7, 6.
What are you doing?
I thought I heard a sound. The safe was open.
I can see that. Where's the money?
Surely you don't think I was...
Well, since Spriggs is locked up in the cellar, that really makes you the prime suspect, Jenny.
How do we know he's in the cellar? Perhaps he's escaped, made his way across the fields, and just stolen the money and went.
No. You worked it out, didn't you? I gave you a clue and you worked it out. It wasn't so difficult for somebody with 10 frigging O levels. I should have been more careful.
John, you're shaking me.
I'll shake you like a salt cellar if you don't tell me where my money is.
I don't know.
You were my ideal. He trusted you.
You were my ideal.
No, I wasn't. You didn't remember me. You didn't even notice me. It all changed because of the money. You were always a snob.
You said you loved me.
But not £100,000 worth. I was in love with the past. The smell of Pond's beauty cream, the grass, the white ankle socks, the ponytails. But that's past now. Where is the money?
She hasn't got it.
And how do you know?
Because I looked, and it wasn't there. Spriggs must have taken it.
Had the chance. When I came, the money was there. I checked.
Spriggs was alone in the room when I met him. He's taken it.
No, you've taken it. The two of you. You're in this together. You saw your opportunity, and you took it.
We were all best friends. We were at school together.
Ah, yes, don't I remember. The girl with the turned-up nose, and the head boy with his 10 O levels and 6 A levels. And where did it get you? Pencil pushing, paper shuffling, shining the seat of your pants. I remember your house with the double frontage, and your mother always with the faint smell of fish under her nose, and your bloody father who always treated me like a barrow boy. And how much good did it do to you? It's not where you're coming from, it's where you're going, Trevor.
Am I interrupting something?
John's just accused us of taking his money.
But surely not. I mean, Trevor's your oldest friend, and Jenny's the girl you ran through the buttercups with. What's this world coming to?
Barbara, if you don't have anything intelligent to say...
Oh, but I do. I came to tell you that the cellar door is open and it looks as if Spriggs has escaped.
What?
You see, I told you, it was Spriggs.
But how?
Well, I don't know how, but he obviously made a dash for it.
Dash? He couldn't dash anywhere. He's in awful condition. You've heard him wheezing. What the hell is this doing here? You can come out now, Spriggs. So it was you, after all. You've taken the money.
No. Will you stop pointing that finger at me?
I'll count from 1 to 10. And if you don't tell me where my money is...
John, don't be silly.
1.
You'd do it, wouldn't you? You just don't care. They say that if a criminal was confronted with the victims of his crime,
4.
the effect would be salutary. Well, I've been confronted with
5.
my victims, and the effect is more than salutary.
6.
It's fleeting tragedy.
7.
Look, I haven't got your money. Christ, haven't you worked it out yet?
8.
Do you need the bleeding building to fall on you? Can't you see it?
9.
She's got it.
What do you mean, my wife?
She's just been waiting for the opportunity.
She doesn't need the money. She's well provided for.
You're not thinking. Why was she so sure she hadn't set the alarm? Because she never sets the alarm. She wanted to be burgled.
But she doesn't know the combination.
She doesn't. She knows. And all she had to do was wait. Then she'd take all the money and blame the burglars. Unfortunately, she chose this particular night to get a little Browns and Lisht, so it took longer.
No, I can't believe it. No. It didn't work, it couldn't work, and it didn't work.
But it could have done. Remember your routine. You garage the car while she switches off the alarm. That will give her plenty of time.
No. She doesn't know the combination, and she didn't have the opportunity.
Are you sure? Couldn't she have found it out?
No, she doesn't have this kind of a mind.
251076. Bingo.
You knew.
Oh, of course I knew. Although it did take me a little while to work it out. I never realised you could be so sentimental.
And you took the money.
Yes.
Why? Haven't I always given you enough?
Yes, given. It's always given. Do you know how it feels asking you for money? I get sick to my stomach.
But you still do ask.
Yeah, it gets harder every year.
It doesn't prevent you from being extravagant.
Oh, on the contrary, I live quite frugally. Now, if you'd only bothered to look at me once in a while, you'd notice that you've often paid for the same dress twice.
What?
I pick up invoices from the floors of dress shops.
But why?
Because if I'm on the way out, I want to be well provided for, as you so quaintly put it.
But you would have been.
No, you'd have wriggled, you'd have fought, you'd have probably gone abroad. Nobody gets your money easily, we've seen that much tonight.
Now you'll have to wait for me to die.
Oh, I would, but you're younger than I am. And besides, knowing you, you'd probably take it with you. You know, like the Viking chief of old, with your ship, loaded with treasure, floating out into the North Sea, all sails blazing. And so I decided to start my fund.
What fun?
For my old age, which according to you isn't far off. I decided to call it, and this should amuse you, my Prigg fund. Now, if you're not going to shoot me, I'll go to sleep. And don't keep me up looking for the money, because you won't find it.
And you would let them take all our things just to get the money?
Your things, John.
When are you leaving?
Leaving? I'm not leaving, why should I?
Why?
Because now, I can leave if I want to. So watch out.
Jenny, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Nothing.
Jenny,
By the way, I did remember you, John, vividly. Your trousers were always ridiculously short, and you smelled of fish and chips.
Trevor, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I don't know what came over me. Everything's spoiled.
I think I'll be making tracks now.
It was you, wasn't it?
No.
Everything went wrong from the moment you came.
Look, these things are always better out in the open, and they always look better in the morning.
It was you. You never stopped prying and probing, turning us inside out, interfering with our lives, tainting our relationships.
No.
You have not stolen my things. You've stolen my life, you bastard!
No, John!
I'll have the catch on you, will you?
That's torn it. He's dead.
Are you sure?
Well, he stopped breathing. That's usually a sign. He's dead, all right.
My God, what have I done?
Oh, nothing. There were no witnesses. He simply had a heart attack. Now, let me get rid of the gun.
Poor little devil. I don't feel any bitterness towards him anymore.
I'm sure he would appreciate that, John. The lights are on at the Coopers.
What?
Oh, you should go down there and ask him to dial 999.
Yeah. Thanks, Trevor. Yeah, he really was in the wrong line of work.
All right. You can get up now.
I can't, I'm dead. Of course you're not. I am, oh, he's around. Didn't I tell you? He's a raving psychopath. I was in prison for the bloke like him. Used to eat razor blade with his cornflakes.
So, you'd better be off before he comes back.
What will you tell him?
Well, that you had an unexpected recovery. My God, I'm not a doctor.
I hope you won't feel any bitterness towards me when I'm gone.
The bitterness?
I mean, there was nothing personal in this.
It was entirely personal, Spriggs. John was right. We haven't been burgled. We've been personally violated.
And what about me? I came here looking for guidance. High principles, leadership, and what do I find? Moral laxity and spiritual decay. What? It's been very disappointing. Now, how do I get to the A17?
You go in a northerly direction until you reach the climate farm, then you turn due west.
Northerly direction, due west. Whatever happened to right, left, and straight ahead? You're right. Mind if I use the phone?
You've cut the wires.
I need a car to meet me. Now, where's my put it?
You mean it was there all the time?
Yes. I leave something for a call. I need to call, I need to phone a Queen's Hotel in Leeds. Hello? Queen's Hotel? Yes. Would you put me through to Mrs. Bordenheim, please? Not there. Oh. Would you put me to Mrs. Patterson then? Not listed. Ah, I see. Look, I'm not trying to waste your time. Have you got a Mrs. Patterson? You do? Good, good. Put me through. I'm her husband. Hello? Angle 1 here. Listen carefully. I want you to get the car out. What do you mean you can't? Look, I'm stuck here in the bleeding wilds. I'm surrounded by anthrax, foul pest, and foot-and-mouth disease. I want you here now, if not sooner. What? What? Can't believe it.
What happened?
The car's been stolen. Secure car park in broad daylight. What is this country coming to?
one announcement to make. It's Jenny's birthday today.
Happy birthday.